Hello and welcome to this evening's event of supporting your child through the examination season. This is the first in a series of webinars that we will be presenting to you to support your child through exams and different ways that you can do so over the course of the time. This will be extended into the real examination period in addition to the mock examination period. So this webinar series, as I said, is part of a number of sessions that will take place over the next few weeks. And we will be doing a number of different things within this series to support you as parents, to provide you with some additional tools that you can use as part of your support for your students and your children, and also be able to help them out with what is an important piece of your child's educational puzzle. Secondly, we will be looking through different revision techniques, and these different revision techniques mirror those that students are exploring through our pastoral and academic programmes. It's going to provide you with a greater understanding of our provisions here at FirstPoint School. There is an opportunity for you to ask questions throughout the event as well, so if you would like to, please use the bottom of the screen to do so, and we will publish those questions also, as well as answering them for you. So my name is Jen Cruikshank and I am the Director of Key Stage 4. This evening's event we will be starting off by looking at working together, which I will be leading on. Fueling Your Body and Mind for Effective Academic Performance by Miss Rebecca O'Brien, who is one of our food and nutrition teachers here at FirstPoint School. We will then be looking at tools for tackling revision, and there are two parts to this. So the first one is organising your time effectively, and the second one we're going to have an activity which we call Memory Palace, which is one of the revision techniques that we look at for our year 11, 10, 12 and 13 students. And then finally at the end there is going to be a close and then some questions. So, working together and your role as a parent. I think it's important, first of all, that we take a couple of steps back and we really look at the question of what is revision, because we ask our students to do this based on the understanding that they know what it is, but also as parents that you know what it is as well. So what is revision? Firstly, it means going over previous work on a regular basis. So your children at the moment are getting ready for their mock examinations, but actually the part of revision that is playing is for their summer examinations as well. Revision reminds the students of all of the things that they might have forgotten from first learning. For our students in year 11, their course is over a 2-year period, and the same for our year 13 students also. So they are going to have to revisit 2 years worth of content and subject knowledge. So it really is a reminder of all of the things that they might have forgotten at this stage. Revision makes links with other learning in order to really show the students the bigger picture. And it also reinforces learning in addition to checking understanding and reminding them of what they don't already know. So it really is a tool to revisit, and we use that within our academic and pastoral programmes. Now, a revision itself can take on many different forms. That being said, all children learn differently, and there's no one size fits all in terms of methods. It really is a case for many of our students that it is in trial and error of learning and going through these different revision techniques. And what works for one student may not necessarily work for another. So through these sessions, we are going to be giving you some of the techniques to try with your child, and strategies in addition to their exploration, we hope will open a dialogue between you at home. So why should you encourage your child to revise? I think more importantly, and the very first thing that we look at, is it really reduces panic when they come to sit their exams. It really means that their results are going to show what they can do rather than focusing on what they cannot do and showing that through their exams. It helps to identify any problem areas that we might be finding. And these problems can be used to ask questions to teachers or subject leads. It really helps to identify next steps and ultimately can help fulfill any gaps in knowledge or content. And ultimately, the aim of this is to improve their results. And it's probably the most obvious, but holistically, they will be more prepared and thrive better within those exams. So research and experience show that pupils whose parents show a regular and active engagement with their learning do better in exams. If you help your child revise, you get to know your child's strengths and weaknesses. You're able to discuss their work with them, and this helps to strengthen their understanding. Many students don't actually know how to revise effectively, and your role as a parent, in addition to what we do at school, really helps us with that. Now, in our experience, students love revision plans. And in my time of teaching, I've seen some phenomenal examples of the different things that students have produced with their learning plans. But that's only one side of the story, and it's the classic saying of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And your role as a parent is really supporting that other side that we can't do from school. Now, before we move on to the revision techniques that we will be looking at this morning, Rebecca O'Brien, one of our food teachers, is going to be speaking through with you fueling your body and mind for effective academic performance.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca O'Brien, and I'm going to be speaking to you about fueling your body and mind during these stressful times. So firstly, how are you fueling your body and mind? The most important thing is that we look at healthy eating during exam times. So exam times bring a lot of added stress into the house, and it almost feels like the whole family is doing the exams. Cramming and staying up late interferes with the body's normal refueling schedule, which can lead to poor food choices, which in turn impacts on energy levels and their ability to focus and concentrate. Let's firstly look at the importance of breakfast. What breakfast does, it provides the body and brain with fuel after an overnight fast. Healthy breakfast options will provide our brains with much needed glucose or carbohydrates, which in turn improves our concentration levels. Eating breakfast has a long-term health benefits. It can reduce obesity, high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes. So what I did before when I was preparing for this webinar, I looked up Jamie Oliver, and I think he's a fabulous chef at looking at the range of breakfasts that are available to us on his website. So the first one is Mexican refried beans, and the reason why I chose this for this webinar is because it has a range of nutrients present in the dish. If we firstly look at protein, we can see that it's present in the eggs and the beans, and we all need protein for growth and repair of cells, and also for production of hormones and enzymes which keep the body healthy. These are all really important during exam times. We have presence of vegetables, and vegetables are really important as they are high in vitamins, which is needed for general good health. Then we have the charred avocado and eggs. And the reason why I chose avocado in this recipe was because avocado has a range of health benefits. It's one of our brain foods which keep our brain operating. It is also eliminates cholesterol. We have eggs, again, high in protein, and we have other peppers and vegetables which are high in vitamin C. And vitamin C is needed for general good health, but it also prevents colds and flus. Apple and pecan porridge. I chose this one because porridge, again, is a slow releasing carbohydrate. And what this does is it keeps our energy going and making us feel fuller for longer. The addition of apple, again, is to just make it a little bit more fun, the recipe, as I know sometimes porridge can be a little bit boring, And pecan nuts are again very good brain foods, and they are also a good healthy fats. Now I know in Dubai it can be really busy and we are on our feet a lot. So these are some range of recipes that keep us going, but also if we're on the go, if we don't have enough time to prepare. So homemade granola. This again is really good, as you can add whatever ingredients you like to this. And I know it's really handy to buy granola in the likes a range of shops, for example, Spinneys and Waitrose and Carrefour, but again that these are really high in sugar. When you make your own granola, it only takes about 20 minutes in the oven, and you know exactly what you're putting into, so your nuts, your seeds, your dried apricots, etc. I also included a superfruit breakfast wrap, and this is again really handy on the go. There, you can see in the picture there's Nutella, but you could substitute that with peanut butter, or you can make your own Nutella. Again, you're watching the sugar content. And then we have our homemade energy bars, which I think is a fantastic thing to make on a Saturday afternoon to keep you for your lunches or your breakfasts throughout the week. So what are brain foods? So high glycemic foods will give you a burst of energy, and then it will bring your energy down really quickly. And that's, for instance, when we eat chocolate. And don't get me wrong, when I am stressed, I do go and buy myself a chocolate bar, but it only keeps me going for a little while, my energy levels, and then I feel really tired. What you should be looking out for as a parent is choosing low glycemic foods, such as whole grains, nuts, most fruits and vegetables. This is in the previous recipes there for the breakfast. We can see there's whole grains with the presence of the oats. There's nuts in our granola bars, etc. And then fruit and vegetables. Now, if we have a look at dinner, and again, going back to brain foods, we have the likes of omega-3 and omega-6. Now, omega-6 isn't present in most foods, but omega-3 is sometimes hard to get into our diets. And what omega-3 does, again, it's good for our brains, but it also reduces the likes of coronary heart disease. For instance, omega-3 is present in the likes of mackerel, salmon and tuna. These aren't really popular fish that people might choose for their dinner, especially mackerel. So what I've done here is I've included a salmon and pea linguine. This recipe is really good. It has the salmon present, which is again for omega-3, and it reduces the risk of coronary heart disease. It also has the pasta, and again, pasta is an example of a carbohydrate, and that keeps our energy going fuller for longer. We have the presence of pea, which is an example of a green veg, which is high in iron, which is really important. Then I also included as a dinner option, or even as a lunch, a chicken fajitas. And I think this is a really fun dinner option. I think when I have dinner with my family, we all sit around and we like to all share foods, etc. I think this is a really nice dish. Again, it's a good way to include veg, because if you have the correct spices, you won't even taste the vegetables, which is sometimes good for the likes of teenagers that aren't fond of some vegetables. Again, you have your wraps again, which are high in carbohydrates, again in energy. You could substitute them maybe for a wholemeal wrap. You have the presence of your chicken or beef, which is high in protein. I also then included a cheesy green risotto. And anytime I'm having a bad day or just feeling a little bit stressed, I always have a risotto, as it makes me feel warm and full and keeps me going for the rest of the day. So that's why I also included that. Again, the risotto, I know it takes time to make, but once you make it, it's really handy, and it's a good way to hide some veg in there, the likes of our asparagus or spinach, etc. Snack times, and I know during school we all need snacks, so we obviously have to have our three main meals of the day, so breakfast, lunch and dinner, but then we also need snacks to keep us going throughout our lessons. And sometimes when I see people eating snacks, we have the likes of crisps and chocolate bars, and of course they are great for a treat, but if we're trying to increase their nutritional value in our diet, the likes of energy balls and little oat cupcakes are really handy. Like some of the breakfast recipes, these can be prepared beforehand, and they are great to just carry around in your bag. They can be also freezable, so it's really handy. All of these recipes are on, so I had Jamie Oliver's, and I also had an Irish chef who was the main courses, and his name is Donald Skehan. and he and along with Jamie Oliver have loads of really handy ideas for snacks. Again, you don't even need to go into this much preparation. You could literally have banana and peanut butter, or apple or peanut butter, even a handful of nuts, seeds. Sunflower seeds are really, really good for keeping you feeling fuller for longer. So just to summarize, healthy food, it keeps us going for longer. It gives us so much more energy, especially during the mocks and the summer exams. Getting enough, a correct amount of sleep and exercise as well. So even just going for 30 minutes a day can really benefit your overall mood and energy levels.
Thank you very much, Miss O'Brien. And I think some of the things that she touched on during her talk there was things that we can really incorporate into the next part of our webinar this evening, which is tools for tackling revision number 1. So the first one that we're going to look at this evening is the effective use of time. Now this is an activity that you can do with your child at home, and actually isn't something just for our year 10, 11, 12 and 13 students, but is something also that you can use through school, right from our FS all the way up to year 13. So to start off, essentially what you are going to need is a piece of paper, or this can be done online. And the first thing that you are going to be doing is really breaking down and identifying where throughout the week the time of your child is spent. So I've used a series of different activities down the left-hand side, but actually that can be substituted for any of the activities that your child takes part in throughout the week. Now, essentially what you need to do is break down either the minutes or the hours that your child takes part in these activities, and then you come up with a daily total and a total at the end. Now, my reason for including this into our webinar this evening is actually when you highlight to students where they spend their time and the percentage of where they spend their time, actually some of them it can be quite shocking. I know I've heard a lot in my experience if I don't have enough time to revise, or the evenings just run away with me. And actually what this does is it really highlights to your child, our students, about where they're able to spread their time and where they do spread their time throughout the week. So once that table is done, they then put it into a personal timetable. Now these personal timetables, we are going to encourage you to put in a communal area, such as on the fridge or somewhere in the kitchen, or in their learning space if you have a study, sort of an open study, where everybody has access to it. So all of your family can help to support your child in making sure that they are allocating their time effectively throughout the week. So I have personally used icons on this, but you can easily enough write on what subjects you will be taking part in, or the students will be taking part in during their revision time. And it's actually really important not to jam-pack this timetable with study all of the time. Miss O'Brien spoke about the well-being elements of making sure that your child is supported, you know, having social time and communal time with your families. So if you wanted to put this into that personal timetable, that would be a really effective way to ensure that those things as a family are being done. So within your sample timetables, a typical weekday would look something like this, with the time distributed equally. Weekend could include these elements, and then during exam time, so for now for our mock examinations, and then again when we get round to the summer, these are some of the tips that we also have. Now, like I said, it is really important that you really make time for well-being as part of your child's timetable. Are you making time for exercise, or is your child making time for exercise? Are they going outside and getting fresh air, particularly with the evenings being nice and cool and the weekends being cooler at the moment? Are you spending time together as a family? These things have real impact on the time that your child is spending with doing revision and during this time over exam. We will be moving on now to our second revision tool, which is going to be Memory Palace, led by Miss Laura Nolte, who is head of Year 11.
Good evening, everybody. So I am going to be talking to you a little bit about something that the Year 11s have tried out, and any students who've studied psychology in the past or are currently studying it have also probably tried it out. Now, that is something called Memory Palace. Memory Palace was actually a method that came out from ancient Greece. It was known as loci or Roman room. It's become popular in recent years due to a BBC show in the UK called Sherlock Holmes, as it's one of the techniques that he uses. So just to give you a bit of a background about the essentials of Memory Palace, it relies on using locations and associations to help you recall information. Now, you can create as many memory palaces as you like, as it's not recommended to reuse the same one over and over again, as all the information that you're trying to remember can then start to get a little bit confused. You need to use locations that you are actually familiar with for it to work. So things like your home or your workplace. And in order for it to work, you need to create memorable or zany, what I refer to as memory pegs, to actually hang your information on. Okay, they say that the more you use places you already know, the less you have to remember. The less you have to remember, the more you can associate. The more you can associate, the more you can remember. And then the more that you can remember, the more that you know, which is obviously very, very useful for the exam period. So what I would like us to do now is have a little go and try it out. So step one, if you can think of somewhere, you can close your eyes for now, somewhere that you know really, really well, and visualize it. It could actually be the room that you're in right now. Have a little look around and look at the pieces of furniture, etc., that are in that room. Now imagine yourself walking a route through that place. Now, just to let you know, the route, you should really keep it linear. Try not to get yourself trapped anywhere or in any room, and try not to cross your own path. Again, this can then make the information become a little bit confused. What you need to do is, as you're visualising your walking route, take a note of anything memorable along that route, which is what I refer to as a memory peg. Now, if you're sat at home, it will probably be pieces of furniture. If you're in a living room or a lounge, it will be sofas, TV unit, TV, etc. Okay, so have a little look around you or visualise a room that you know really, really well, and take a note of anything that you could use to remember. Then what I'm going to do in a moment, I'm going to read off 6 numbers. Okay, and what I would like you to do whilst I'm reading off those 6 numbers is to imagine each of those numbers interacting with each of your memory pegs. Okay, so 1 number per memory peg. An example could be something like, say if I said the number 11, it could be swinging off the light fitting or something like that. It's very, very memorable because it's a little bit silly and a little bit zany. Okay, then the last step that we're going to do is we're going to repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay, so get ready for the numbers. The number 6, 10, 15, 3, 9 and 4. Hopefully you've managed to place them in different areas, 6 different areas within the room or within wherever you're picturing. I'm going to read them again for you, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some time to repeat, repeat, repeat this in your mind, and then we're going to come back and we're going to have a little see to see how well you did. So the number 6, 10, 15, 3, 9 and 4. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 minutes now to repeat those over in your head, placing them on your memory pegs, doing your walkthrough of your memory palace, and then I will come back to you. Okay, time up. I'm going to show you now the numbers that I originally read off. Can you please write in the chat box in the question and answer box and let Miss Cruikshank know just how many you got correct? So the numbers were 6, 10, 15, 3, 9 and 4. Hopefully you did quite well. With something like this, I would like to point out it is something that does require a lot of practice, but once you've got it and you're able to use it really effectively, it's something that can be used for a variety of different topics. I've said to the students that actually for something like science or history, it's actually really, really useful for them. I have seen it in action in history before for all the different laws and policies and things. So it is definitely worthwhile being something that students can practice. If you would like any more information on Memory Palace, please feel free to drop me an email. If you don't have my email address, I'm sure it will appear at the end of the PowerPoint, and I can send you some more links and some more videos and more information for you. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. So a lot of information, and actually as parents now, I'm sure you're asking the question, where shall I start? So in terms of in terms of thinking about where to start, try and use some of the techniques that we have done today, and think about some of the nutrition as well that we'll be using with our students within their pastoral programs as well. Your role as a parent is these things that are bullet pointed there. I don't want to read them all out for you, but if you could look through those, that would be absolutely fantastic. I just want to make a note that all of the resources that we have gone through this evening, including the recipes that Miss O'Brien has gone through with you today, will be made available, and they will be linked to our newsletters for Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5 this week. So what should our students be doing? Now, they are really busy at the moment, making sure that they are preparing themselves for the upcoming mock exams. But some of the things that you can speak about with them to open the dialogue is, are they attending booster sessions and in-school intervention? These take place both at lunchtime and after school. Are they getting advice from subject areas, from their teachers, from the heads of department on how to revise for those subjects? Within the pastoral programme, we are looking at many different techniques for their revision, but subject specifically, what works for those subjects, and their subject leads will be able to help them out with that. Have they constructed revision timetables? And I know that in the revision programmes, we have been looking at those. So please open up that dialogue with them. Are they identifying and taking notes of the way that they learn? Because actually this is crucial when they are considering how they are approaching revision, and actually are they revising at home? So students should be accepting that the next sort of 5 months is going to be all about schoolwork as we enter into the examination seasons. Are they being active in their revision and their learning and not passive? Okay, so the classic flicking through of a textbook, okay, is sort of archaic in the way that we inspire our students to learn and go away and revise. So these new techniques, they really should be exercising, and this encourages them to be active and not passive. Are they putting an equal focus on content and examination technique? And this is something that we are going to be delving into a little bit deeper in our next webinar next Monday, and actually about the examination technique rather than just knowing the knowledge for our exams. Have they got the balance right between work and rest? Going back to the well-being areas, we know that that's crucial, and we'll be hearing from some of our specialists in school about the psychology and the stress behind that, and how you can support your child when they are feeling stressed, which I know many of our students are. Are they also speaking regularly with their teachers? So we have our Year 10 Parents Evening and our Year 12 Parents Evening this week. I know many of you attended our parent consultation event for Year 11 and 13 next week, but they are not the only times where both you at home and students can be contacting their teachers. We very much are an open book with our communication with at home, and we really encourage you to get in touch to see if there is anything that you can be doing from a home perspective. What should our students not be doing? First of all, nothing. Revising while doing other things as well. Quite often we have them sort of with the TV on in the background and sort of going through the textbooks and trying to do some flashcards and things like that. If they are in a space that they are able to really flourish in terms of their learning, that is fantastic. So finally from me, a thank you, and thank you so much for joining us for this evening's event. I have put the email addresses of those that spoke this evening, but I've also put form tutors down there as well. Please do get in touch with your child's form tutor, subject teachers. Please ask us what more you can do from a home perspective and how you can support that, and having that open dialogue is incredibly helpful in order to do that.